So today we'll be learning how to make a text box that you see right here. For that, let's create a new file called textbox.html, and in here again we'll be following the proper HTML structure. For that, first of all, let's write doc type, then write HTML. Inside this, first write head, and let's keep it empty for a while, and write body. And in here we want to create a text box. So for the text box, the HTML tag is input. So this is the HTML tag for creating a text box. So we have created a text box called input, but we have not given any attribute to this element. So it just creates a simple basic text box wherein we can write anything, but it does not do anything. Now there are some useful attributes for input element. First one is type. Here we can write text. Save this. By default, this type attribute has the value of text only, but we can even change this to something like checkbox. Save this. Now we have a checkbox. We can check it or uncheck it. You must have seen this checkbox multiple times in a lot of websites. Since we want to create a text box like this Google search bar, so we'll write text only. Save this. And when you see the search bar, you will see this text: search Google or type a URL. But as soon as you start typing on it, that thing disappears. So this is called a label. It tells user what kind of thing you can enter in this text box. Since here it is a search bar, so it is showing a label of search Google or type a URL. Even we can give a label to this search bar. For that, write placeholder, and inside this write whatever text you want to be visible on the text box. Since we want to create this search bar, so we'll write this thing exactly as it is. So we'll write, let's close this for a while, search Google or type a URL. Save this and see, we got this text. Now, of course, we'll be styling this text box to look kind of similar to this Google text box. Let's open it in a different file. I think we can swap the order. Now let's style this text bar one by one. First of all, let's give a class to this element text box. Save this. And for CSS, let's create another CSS file inside this style folder only, called textbox.css, and here target our class that was textbox. First of all, let's add margin to each side so that it is visible easily. Right, margin 30 pixels. Now to see the changes, we need to link this file inside here. Right, right link, and then rel relation, style sheet, href, styles, and then textbox.css. Save this. Okay, now let's start. 200 pixel, way too much. Let's increase it for 60 pixels. Save this. Perfect. Increase the width of this search bar. Right width 300 pixel. Save. Okay, now we can see this text completely. It works perfectly. Now start styling this so that it looks similar to Google search bar. First, let's give a height and width equal to this Google search bar. We can even find the exact height and width, or we can do this just by looking at it. Let's try to create this just by observing, and at the end we'll cross check our dimensions. So I think the width should be 700 pixels. Way too much. 600. Let's try a little bit. 500. I think 550 should be fine. You can even compare this, like, yeah, looks kind of completely fine. Let's add a height. Let's say 20 pixels. Little bit more. Starts to look like, I think 40 should be fine. Let's decrease it 35. Okay, it's fine for a while. Let's give this a rounded corner like this one. So right border radius 18 pixels. Perfect. Let's also shift this text a little bit further for that right padding. Padding left 40 pixels. Perfect. Now increase the font size of this text. Right font size 20 pixels. A little, I think 16. Yep, it looks pretty close enough to this. Now let's add this box shadow that we have here to this. First, let's remove this border. Say perfect. Right box shadow. Let's say 2 pixels, 2 pixels, and 2 pixels. 2 pixel of vertical and horizontal, and 2 pixel of fading. And then write the color RGBA 0, 0, 0, 0 point, let's say 4 for a while. Say this. Yep. I think the fading is a little bit more, right? 4 pixels. See, our shadow is on the bottom and on the right only, but here the shadow is around the text box entirely. So for that, I think we should put this shadow right beneath this text box so that it will be visible from all the four sides. Let's change its position to 0 and 0. Save this. Yep, now it looks fine. I think we need to increase this faintness a little bit more. Try 6 pixels. Yeah, we are getting somewhere there. Try 8, I guess. I think we need to also increase the height of this. Height is a little bit more. Try 38, I guess. I think 40 was fine. Yeah, increases border radius to 20 pixel. It should be half of the height. I think we can decrease this width to 500 only. Let's say 510, I guess. Perfect. I think our text box looks pretty close enough to the search bar of Google. As far as our current knowledge is concerned, for that it's pretty decent. Let's save this. And we can do one more thing. We can change this title also to look more like a Google page. Here inside this head, write title and then write new tab. Okay, done.